because of Fate's Strange releasing, I see more people confused about how to start the series, so I thought I'd give my own personal experience. Getting into Fate isn't as complicated as people make it, kinda. So here's my breakdown and guide to watching the series. Most people say you can start anywhere, which is true, but that's anywhere that isn't within what I call the Emiya timeline, which has events that happen chronologically. Again, this is a little weird, so I'll try to make this as unconfusing as possible. Each Fate entry is a different timeline with different events and characters that act differently in each entry, so you can start anywhere and not be confused about context. The ones that are in the Emiya timeline are Fate Stay Night, Unlimited Blade Works, Fate Zero, and the Heaven's Feel movies. Fate Zero is a prequel to this timeline, so I recommend you watch it for the backstory and context of the characters. The other entries in this timeline aren't in any particular order, since they're all different routes. Real quick, Fate is adapted from a visual novel where you can choose the heroine you follow. The Heaven's Feel movies is Sakura's route, Fate Stay Night is Saber's route, and Unlimited Blade Works is Tosuka's route. In short, if you start with this timeline, watch Zero first, then from there choose either the Heaven's Feel movies, Unlimited Blade Works, or Fate Stay Night. It doesn't matter what order you watch them or if you watch all of them. And this is specifically just for the Emiya timeline. As far as I know, the other entries in the Fate series aren't like this. Let me know if I missed anything. What's up y'all, here's my part 2 of my Yu-Gi-Oh journey. Semi-unrelated, but it's weird what 4Kids does and does not censor. Like, I'm surprised they even said the word divorce. So kids can handle seeing a human body falling apart in a very graphic and grotesque way, and a man taking the life of a child, but not rice balls apparently. It may have only happened twice, but Taya immediately hating on Mai is my favorite running joke so far. Does Tristan need to be here? He doesn't need to be actively dueling like Joey and Yugi, but so far he's been useless, and I don't remember one line he said where I wasn't rolling my eyes. People did tell me that the anime came out before the official rules of Yu-Gi-Oh came out, but even then, some shit still doesn't make sense and is inconsistent as hell. For example, in the duel with Mako, the moon got summoned even though it's an equipment card, but it acted as a destructible object too. But the Book of Secrets is nowhere to be seen after being equipped to Mystical Elf, even though, like the moon, it was an equipment card that raised a monster's attack power. Am I being nitpicky? Definitely, but I at least want some bit of consistency. I'm surprised Seto wasn't a complete bully to his brother, it just seemed in his character. Okay, so Mind Break doesn't lobotomize the person, it just opens their mind and cleanses evil. Okay, so using Heart of the Cards to draw the exact card that you need, you know what? Rayman exists. Stopping an attack that you don't even know is happening when you're thousands of kilometers away? Are you serious? This is the type of stuff I'm talking about when I say what is Yu-Gi-Oh on besides Bull? Monster Reborn will always be the most goated card. So if all Pegasus needs to do is beat Yugi to get Kaiba Corp, why not just challenge him to a duel like he did the first time, only this time make it public? Yugi beating Seto isn't uncommon information within the duelist community, and since he wants the puzzle too, he can just say Yugi has to bet it as well. And Pegasus already has his grandfather, so Yugi doesn't have a reason not to accept the duel. He's just being extra for the sake of being extra. I'm excited for Avengers Doomsday as much as the next MCU fan, and after seeing Thor's teaser, it might be a hit. And contrary to most people, I thought the MCU post-Endgame was okay. There were some bad ones, some gems, and some that were just okay. But one thing I'm worried about is how they'll treat the newest addition to the MCU, the Fantastic Four, since they don't have the relationships with the other heroes and villains as they normally do in any other form of media. We already have Namor, and now a Super Skrull, one of them being the Fantastic Four's main villains, and the other, depending on the day, an acquaintance. And now we're getting Doom, their most iconic enemy and occasional babysitter. Not to mention that this version of Doom and Reed don't know each other, and because of this, there's not going to be any, how do I put this, hateful synergy that makes them work as one of the most iconic hero and villain duos. It's like Ultron's change to being built by Tony and Bruce, rather than Hank Pym, who based Ultron off of his own brainwaves. Then again, they were able to make Ultron's movie work, so maybe Marvel Studios will cook again with Doom. Even with my issues with the Fantastic Four, I'm still excited for Doomsday, especially after seeing the X-Men teaser, where we got to see my boy Scott Summers popping off! So after facing backlash for getting into One Piece, Mr. Beast posted a list of all the anime he's seen. And as a result, everyone is now clowning him for it, saying he just won an MAL and just put down the top ones that he saw on the site. I'm not a huge Mr. Beast fan, and I am purely speaking as an anime fan. I gotta be honest here, a lot of y'all can't talk. I've seen a lot of anime watchers put their lists like this, you know, their top 10s, all the anime they've seen, etc. It doesn't matter the list, almost all of them look the exact same as Mr. Beast. Anime fans need to get out of their own bubble. That's not to dismiss any of the popular anime because they got popular for a reason. Go watch them. But, you know, just broaden your horizons a bit. And we gotta stop gatekeeping lesser known stuff too. Most people don't venture into 2000s anime beyond Full Metal Alchemist, Death Note, any of the big three, Fairy Tail, and Gintama. People need to broaden their horizons a bit, so here's some recommendations from me. You want to watch something with a lot of action? There's Bento, Air Gear, Tsubasa Chronicle, Darker Than Black, and two recent ones, Ragnar Crimson and Ultraman 2019. You like a little romance? There's Romantic Killer, Oregaru, Maid-sama, Special A, Snow White with Red Hair, Dance with the Devils, Paradise Kiss, and His and Her Circumstances. Need something to laugh at? There's Defrag, Baka and Test, Blood Lad, Is This a Zombie, My Bride is a Mermaid, Hayate the Combat Butler, and Genshiken. You like mecha? There's Gurren Lagann, Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, Full Metal Panic, Vandred, Zegapin, and Aquarion. There's thousands of anime out there. Don't limit to yourself to just the ones listed at the top of MAL. And let me know, what are some of y'all's favorite niche anime? It's time to talk about High School DxD, what I like to call the rite of passage into the freakier side of anime. And it was a part of our, and yes, I mean our, anime watching journey. If you were an anime watcher in the late 2000s or in the early 2010s, you most likely watched it at some point. And if it wasn't that, it would either be High School of the Dead or Rosario Vampire, or all three even. Let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, there's a lot of fan service in it, and I like it all the same. I don't care if an anime has fan service or not, just as long as the characters are good and the story is okay, which DxD does perfectly. The world is kinda interesting with more than decent characters, not even talking from a fan service perspective. Everyone has something interesting about them. And when any of them get their emotional scenes, you can't help become somewhat attached to them. Kiva, I'm looking at you. The main character Issei is an OP, and he genuinely struggles at the start, and as the seasons go, you genuinely see his skill and power increase. The same with the sidecasts too, they don't get neglected at all as far as that comes. The soundtrack is spectacular, and if you watch the Anime Boys' sister leveling series, you already know one song from this anime. And you know, every episode will have you saying, "God damn," at one point or the other. If you're not afraid of fan service, I definitely recommend this series. All I can say is, Zenobia's best girl, Azazel is the GOAT, and give us Season 5 already. Solid's post asking, for $1 million, which TMNT 2012 mutant would you rather be hunted down by for 4 hours? Shredder is gone immediately. Screw the Super Shredder, I don't have enough strength nor skills to fight a regular Shredder. He might track me down off of pure hatred. We're talking about the same guy who in an instant cut this guy's meatball and all the candles in one swipe in less than a second. Survived getting a chomping from Leatherhead, got up immediately after getting thrown into metal pipes, and then proceeded to no-diff him, not to mention slamming said gator while getting jumped by 8 mutants. Both Razar and Tiger Claw are out simply for the fact that there's nowhere I could run because of their sense of smell. The two tracked down a guy who was half across the city and caught up to him within minutes after getting a whiff of his scent. All I can say is, after he got mutated, Fishface was nothing but the butt of the joke. I can take my chances running from him, even with those legs. As long as I stay away from water and biting range, I'm good. Not to mention, unlike Tiger Claw and Razar, he can't see in the dark nor has an enhanced sense of smell, so he might not even find me before the 4 hours are up. I'll take my chances with him. One Punch Man seriously damaged JC Staff's reputation, to the point that people are surprised when they see that their studio actually has good animators. First off, the team was never bad. Production was a mess as a whole. You can even see in some scenes that they actually did try and had a good group of animators on the project. Tight deadlines, budget, and time hoed it. Although they did take on a lot of adaptations this year, so the company was probably already spread thin as it is, but with the deadlines already set, they had to work with what they had. Shortly after Season 3 ended, a new romance anime called Taemon's B-Side released, which was actually getting praise for its great animation, both 2D and 3D. The kicker being that this anime was being animated by the same company as One Punch Man Season 3, and people are shocked about the quality for some reason. That's not to say people don't already have some issues with JC stuff, myself included, mostly because at times they can cut out source material. I rarely see complaints about their animation quality. Even though this season of One Punch Man was terrible, remember that JC staff did do last season as well, and it was okay. Nowhere near Season 1 obviously, but not terrible. Here's some anime that JC staff has done with great animation. Danmachi, the Konosuba movie, A Certain Scientific Railgun, Toradora, and ROD the TV. One Punch Man Season 3 isn't a representation of their work as a whole. So a few weeks ago, after being finished for about 2 weeks, Gachi Yakuda had announced a new game is releasing with a new teaser trailer. It's rumored to be an RPG, but it has caused some mixed reaction about it, one side wishing it was an arena fighter, and the other praising that it isn't. To me, arena fighters have a 50-50 chance on if they're good or not. Like Curse Clash was trash, but Bleach Rebirth of Souls was alright. My issue is with the people that complain about these games being quote-unquote Storm clones. I understand there are some that are copy and paste clones that copy almost every mechanic, but not every arena fighter plays exactly like Storm. For as bad as it was, Kirsch Class even tried something different with the 2v2 aspect of it. I like that part at least. And apparently the creators of Storm are interested in making a Jujutsu Kaisen game. Now people have hope for the game, but y'all just said you don't like arena fighters. On that point, I always see hate for anime arena fighters, but I never see people talk about non-anime arena fighters. They aren't bad, y'all just don't talk about them. Pirate Warriors, Attack on Titan's game, One Piece Odyssey, Gundam SD, and Shinobi Strikers, just to name some that don't get enough recognition, and none of them are the arena fighters that people complain about. What I find crazy is I don't hear about this for any other type of fighting game. No, please not another 2D fighter, or please not another Tekken clone. Personally, I wouldn't mind if Gauchi Okuda's game was an arena fighter, or some kind of 3D PvP game, as long as it's one-on-one with no tag team mechanic. So pro gamer Kingsman got kicked out of a 40k tournament for telling another player to swap off Widow. At first, when I saw the first clip, he did come off as a dick at the start. Listen, I'm not a fan of telling people to swap at the start of a match unless we're lacking a role, and I believe everyone should get a fair shot at their character to see if it'll benefit the team or not in the match. Who knows, an unpopular character could mean the difference between a win and a loss. Then I hear everyone else talking about just having fun, barely taking the match seriously, and that I was completely on Kingsman's side. The Widow player even went 0-5 in the first domination match, and still was refusing to swap to another DPS. I know that people are going to be like, it's not like it's a competitive match or an esports tournament, but still, it's money on the line either way. You gotta be insane not to take it seriously. He wasn't even being disrespectful about it, just asking her to swap to literally anyone else because Widow was not getting the job done. When did having fun not include winning? Quick play I can understand to a degree. It's where you learn new characters and, you know, people to hang out every now and then. And the arcade modes are pure chaos, and those are made for fun. I don't care if it's competitive or anything with money on the line, the laughing, playing who you want instead of what the team needs goes out the door immediately. I'd be in there playing like a tryhard. Call me a douche or greedy if you want. I play to win. Justice for Kingsman all the way. It's almost been 10 years since Captain America Civil War came out, and to this day I still see people debating about Cap and Iron Man's beef in this movie. This isn't about the Sokovia Accords, which Steve was right about. Tony was making his biggest screw-ups everyone else's problem, and the Battle of New York should not have been used as a case in general. I don't know why the army did that in that movie. With that out of the way, let's talk about what people love debating about in this movie. Iron Man trying to kill Bucky after seeing the tape of his parents' assassination. When it comes down to the subject, people miss the point that everyone in this situation was in some kind of way right and wrong, and no one really had the moral high ground here. It's a true sense of a morally gray situation. Not to mention, everyone's reasoning is completely understandable in this case. It makes sense that Tony would try to kill Bucky, and although I'm not on Tony's side in this case, Cap was completely in the wrong for keeping that secret from Tony. And on the other hand, Steve stopping Tony from killing Bucky isn't wrong because he wasn't in control of anything he did as the Winter Soldier. He literally just got his best friend back after fighting him 2 separate times while under the influence of Hydra's brainwashing. Since I've seen this take multiple times, for the people that say Bucky deserved to get killed by Tony, here's a quick reminder that he was forcefully experimented on and turned into this, and we see that everything he did as the Winter Soldier weighs on him heavily, and he actively tries to make amends for it. And Bucky trying to kill Iron Man is self-defense, not much else to say. Heck, he was even trying to run away and avoid the fight until Tony blocked off the exit. All of them have a valid reason for fighting, and no one is necessarily in the right here. So JJK's newest episode got rated as a 9.8, and now people are tripping over what Japanese viewers had to say overseas about viewers only liking hype moments and aura. 2 things I gotta get off first. 1. This post cut the rest of the quote where the original was comparing this episode to the rating of episode 3, which was the episode where they explained the culling game rules in an anime original way. The second thing is, why are y'all making this about sexism? Because this was Maki's episode? From what I've seen, not one person brought up gender as a complaint. The only complaints I've seen about episode 4 are the ones talking about the episode not being a one-to-one adaptation of the manga, which I haven't read, so I can't really speak on if they're valid or not. As far as the hype moments and aura stuff, I'd say it's about 60% true, and that mostly comes from anime watchers that started in 2018 when it became popular in the West. That's the main people that only care about action. And I won't say all new anime watchers are like this, because the Acro Silky episode in Dandanon is still the highest rated episode in the show, even though there are so many episodes with great fights. Personally, what makes an action-heavy series a 10 out of 10 to me is when you can bring out the best in the story along with great fight scenes. As much as I have issues with JJK's story and it not going deeper into some aspects of it, the Zenin clan storyline is definitely the best part of the series, and episode 4 definitely deserves its rating. It brought hype moments, aura, and not to mention a hype storyline. And here's a tip, don't rely on Twitter for reviews, the app feeds off of negativity. It's time to talk about one of my favorite recent anime, Shangri-La Frontier, which is one of the best gaming anime I've seen in a while. The anime is about Sunraku, a person who loves playing terribly made video games, kinda like me with Sonic 06, and one day, by the recommendation of a game store clerk he frequently visits, decides to try out one of the most popular and the most out there, Shangri-La Frontier, or SLF for short. And like Sword Art Online, this game and all others in this anime are in full VR, using similar machines to the Nerve Gear or the Neuralinker from Excel World, and I said games plural for a reason, because while the main game is SLF, the series at times splits off into other games, all of which never feel like filler and wish existed IRL. When I tell you this author understands games and gamers, I mean it. From gaming slang to representing RNG frustration we all feel when grinding in MMOs. You can tell that either the author experienced this firsthand or someone they know did. We're getting season 3 this year, and the next arc that the anime is adapting is straight heat, and like I said before, they make me want to play this game. The main characters are fun and unique, not to mention the dialogue, both sub and dub are hilarious, especially when the cast starts trolling each other. And one last thing I gotta say is the boss fights. They feel like actual boss fights. I also love that no one is overpowered in this series, just very skilled. If you're a gamer, I definitely recommend this anime. Here's my top 5 anime that came out in 2025. At number 5, I got Gachi Akuta. What won me over was the cast, especially Ruto, because going into it, I thought he'd be another typical revenge-driven, edgy character. But we get to see, while he is self-conscious and hates himself to a degree, for being confined to that angry stereotype, Ruto doesn't give up on trying to improve himself, and I love stories about personal growth like that. Not to mention, everyone has some sort of angst to them that makes you want to see more of them, especially my queen Semiyu. Also, you can't convince me you didn't replay Jabber's song more than once. Zeno Robinson absolutely cooked in this show. At number 4, the second season of Dandadan. The development of Momo and Okarun this season is what defines them both as a great ship and perfect co-tagonists. Not to mention, we got the Hayashi performing the best anime original song, where they got Mark Hudson from Dragon Force to sing Hunting Soul. And we can't forget the Go Kinta being introduced. At number 3, we got the finale to My Hero Academia. What more can I say other than that this season was absolutely beautiful. The anime started while I was in 5th grade, but I can still remember the first season like it was yesterday, and I'm glad it got to go out with a banger last season. It may have taken the whole series, but I finally see why Bakugo was so popular. Him acknowledging everyone's help and ultimately saving his hero. It was the perfect end to his character arc. The ending to the series was perfect, and Deku proved that he was truly the #1 hero. At number 2, the second season of Apothecary Diaries. If Mamo didn't win you over in season 1, this season will definitely do it. If there's one thing I love about Apothecary Diaries, is that it feels like a period piece with the way they explain politics, traditions, and other social norms. It'll get you invested in the environment as a whole. Jinchi and Mamo is definitely my new favorite ship. Their banter and dynamic is what makes this anime a gem. And finally at number 1 is To Be Hero X. The chokehold this Donkua had on me was insane. With no source material like a manga, there wasn't any worry about spoilers, and it made the excitement for each new episode even bigger. I genuinely can't think of a bad episode or character. Even Ahu, who I didn't even give a chance since his character reveal trailer. He may be a fraud, but Isol definitely had my favorite arc. I love the parallel between Yang Chen and Ling Ling. They both may have had similar starts in their hero journey, but only one of them became a true hero in the end. Those are my top 5. What were yours for 2025? So the author of History's Strongest Disciple, Kenichi, has announced that he is writing a sequel to the series, and that will release this spring. I can't express enough the amount of joy I felt reading this post. Kenichi is one of, if not the best martial arts anime and manga of all time. Truly a legendary underdog story. I remember watching this in middle school, and it was what got me into looking at other martial arts, and it inspired me to improve myself physically. I don't know what it was, but something about the series always got me hyped like that, especially when I hear the first opening. And a few months ago, I watched the OVA that released almost 5 years after the anime stopped airing, which adapts more of the manga, but I never heard of it until I rewatched the series recently. I hope after this releases we get the rest of the original manga adapted, because they leave off right before the tournament arc, and you know those are always top 5 arcs in any series. And from what I heard what happens in the manga, they give my boy Takeda some respect after what happened to him in the Ragnarok arc. Appachai was definitely my favorite sensei, with a close tie between Agasame and Hayato for second favorite. I'm glad that History's Minus Disciple is coming back. What did you think about Kenichi?